What is going on, guys? Winter Kills here, and welcome to a brand new deck profile here. I haven't done like a profile for this deck like since Construct came back to 1 originally. I did a Chaos Mech Shaddoll deck, but here I'm back with a Star Seraph Chaos Shaddoll deck profile. Sort of a return to form, if you will. Back when Shaddolls was tier 1, you know, in their prime essentially. We saw Danko dolls with the black and white baby Chaos Dragons. We saw Star Seraph Shaddolls being one of the better versions of the deck. And I wanted to call back on some older engines that this deck has just had great success with. And in testing, it has proved to be very, very good still to this day. Still love the Star Seraph engine. So I'm really excited to show you guys this list. And it's going to be evolving as time goes on. I can see myself updating this frequently, actually. Because it's just a very fun deck to play, and it's surprisingly very, very good. Construct and Winda still very, very powerful cards. Some slight tweaks I might make to the extra deck, and I'll show you guys some options, some main deck and extra deck options for things that you can play differently as opposed to what I'm playing. If you don't 100% agree, or maybe you want to play something different. But yeah, before we get into this, a quick shout out to Imperium Duelist and a quick shout out to TCG Player. If you guys want to pick anything up on TCG Player, any sealed product or singles, don't forget to use my affiliate link down in the description below. It helps support me. It requires nothing else of you other than just using that link to check out on. And if you guys are interested in any of these playmats or sleeves that I'm using, this playmat comes out on the 18th of October. The Millennium playmat, like 2.0. Very, very beautiful playmat here. Two-sided cloth, of course. It comes out on the 18th, and use that discount code WinterKills10 off to save 10% off your entire order when you do check out. So let's go ahead and get into the list here. Really, really excited to show you guys this list. It's so fun. I love this deck so much. So happy Construct has finally been unchained. So yeah, we have 2 copies of Shaddoll Beast. I really did want to play 3. But I just need to have space for other hand traps and things for going second, since this is primarily a going second deck. Then 2 copies of Beast. I'll just do it like this. 2 copies of the Squamata, actually, my bad. So 2 Beasts, 2 Squamata. I wanted to do 3 of each, but I just couldn't end up, you know, committing with it for the video, just because I think playing 2 and 2 is fine. I think 3 and 3 is a bit too much, but like I said, I wanted to drop the 3rd Squamata and 3rd Beast for more hand traps. So then we have 2 copies of Hedgehog. Hedgehog is really nice because it can get a Shaddoll to your hand if you don't have any off Mathematician or Foolish Burial. Of course, its flip effect to add a Shaddoll spell or trap is really good. Although very slow. Hopefully they fix that with the Shaddoll structure deck coming out sometime next year. And give us an easier way to search our fusions, because I think that's this deck's biggest crutch, is getting fusions in your hand to be able to start your plays. Then lastly, for the Shaddolls, we have 1 Falco and 1 Dragon. I was running a list that was playing like 2 of every Shaddoll, but I think as is, this is fine. This amount, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Shadolls. Again, I was playing 10 with the 3 Beasts, 3 Squamata, but it's really player preference, I guess. If you want to play more Shadolls and have a deeper engine to work through, you can. Or if you maybe want to play more hand traps to you know, slow your opponent down more going second, you know, it's up to you. Player preference, I guess. So that's it for the Shadolls, and we have 3 copies of Mathematician. This card is still amazing in here, always has been, and pretty much always will be until they come out with a better version of Mathematician. Send any level 4 or lower. So you can send your Squamata to send Beast. You can send your Falco to set itself back if you need to. You can send, you know, your Hedgehog to get Shaddoll to your hand. And if it's destroyed by battle, you get to draw a card. So really amazing card there. And Earth Target, of course, for Chekanaga if need be. Then I have 3 copies of the Star Seraph Scepter and 2 copies of Star Seraph Sovereignty. I'm running 3 and 2 because I didn't want to commit to 3-3 because I didn't want to start opening this card more than this card, and opening 2 of this card would really suck if it wasn't paired with Scepter. So I think 3-2 is fine. But for those that don't know what this does, basically if this card is normal summon, you can add a Star Seraph monster from your deck to your hand except itself. An Xyz monster that was summoned using 3 or more monsters, including this card, on the field as Xyz material, gains this effect. When it's Xyz summoned, you can target one other card on the field, destroy it, and if you do, you can draw 1 card. So really, really powerful card, especially when combined with this. And this says, cannot be used as Xyz material for an Xyz summon except for an Xyz monster that uses 3 or more monsters as Xyz material. That's a mouthful there. Then if you normal or special summon a Star Seraph monster, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do draw one card, then you can special summon it if it is a Star Seraph monster. So basically the way this works, you would normal to search this, and then this would still activate to summon to draw. And if you have multiples in your hand, like let's say if you have Scepter and a chair in your hand, Scepter can search the other chair, special, draw 2 cards, and then be able to go into anything from there, like a Link, or an Xyz. You can use these guys for regular Xyz, like 2 monster level rank 4s, but this guy has to be used for 3 level 4 rank 4s, which are playing some that fit really well with the strategy, and they're all lights, so you can send like extra Scepters to the grave off Shaddoll Fusion if you need to, if you don't have any other good light targets left. Then another engine, the Perform Mage engine, so I'm doing 2 Damage Juggler, 1 Hat Tricker, and 1 Trick Clown. Couldn't find the space for the second Trick Clown. I think this is fine in practice. It's been really good, so I'm really liking that. And then still playing the 1 Black Dragon and 1 White Dragon. These are really good level 4 extenders, and one of the good aspects of this deck is it can make rank 4s really easily, especially with the Trick Clown engine and the Star Seraph engine. It's one of its biggest power moves is being able to go into strong rank 4s. So yeah, liking those so far. And then I'm playing 1 Levianeer. I wanted room for more boss monsters, like Chaos boss monsters. I was thinking about BLS or like Dark Armed, but I kind of like Levianeer because it's a bit more flexible than BLS or Dark Armed, because you can banish multiple darks or all lights or both light and dark, and it's got non-targeting destruction removal, which is nice. So that card could really be anything. You don't have to play Levianeer. I'm just choosing to play it this time around. This was also Monster Reborn, but I decided to take Monster Reborn out for this, and maybe I'll put it back in. I'm not sure. Then for the hand traps, 3 copies of Phantasme. This you don't have to play Phantasme. You could play like Allure of Darkness instead, or Desires or Upstart, or more hand traps. I realize this isn't really a budget option, but definitely does help the deck 100%. Then we have 2 copies of Ash Blossom. Just move this stuff over like this for all the hand traps here. So 2 copies of Ash Blossom and 2 copies of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Yep, we got the alternate arts. If you guys haven't seen the unboxing of my Dual Devastator, you should check that out at some point. But yeah, so playing these 7 hand traps. Like I said, I added these in place of the 3rd Beast and the 3rd Squamata. So really liking that hand trap lineup as of right now. Then for spells, we have 3 Shaddoll Fusion. You've got to play triple Shaddoll Fusion. Like, you have to max out on fusions in this deck, like 100%. Because if you don't see fusions, you really have a slow turn. That's why we're playing a lot of cards that draw, a lot of cards that get into other cards in our deck, so we can hopefully see these. Then we play 3 El Shaddoll Fusion, the quick play that lets you OTK. Then I'm also playing 3 Super Polymerization in the main deck. It's weird that this card is at 3 right now, but definitely going to play it while it is at 3, because you never know. This card might go back down to 2 or 1. I definitely don't think it needs to be banned again. It's not that powerful, but at 3, it's just a little crazy. But this is like a pseudo, El Shaddoll Fusion. It's just, sometimes you need to start your turn with this, and also it's like a good going second card because you can just like slurp up your opponent's board. If they leave a light, a dark, or an earth monster on their field, you can just use it to go into your Shaddoll Fusions. Then playing 3 copies of Call by the Grave. I didn't want to have to play this, but I feel like this card is so susceptible to Ash Blossom that you have to play Call by the Grave in the main. So 3 Call by. And then the last spell is 1 Foolish Burial. Like I said, I was also playing a copy of Monster Reborn earlier, but decided to add the Levianeer in instead. And then the last trap, kind of a necessary trap they have to play, Shaddoll Core. Special summon this as an effect monster, spellcaster type dark, level 9, attack 1450, defense 1950. This card is also still a trap card. If summoned this way, you can substitute this monster for 1 fusion material that lists an attribute on a Shaddoll fusion monster. If this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can target 1 Shaddoll spell trap card in your graveyard and add it to your hand except itself. So you can do some really cool plays with this using like Squamata and Construct. So you can send this off Squamata, and then you can send you could send like Shaddoll Fusion off of Squamata, and then have your Construct send this to the graveyard because it sends any Shaddoll card. Same thing with Squamata, and then you can just add this back, or add the Shaddoll Fusion back off of the core if you really need to see Shaddoll Fusion. Maybe if you only saw an L or a Super Poly to kind of get your plays going more so. So yeah, that's it for the main deck. It's a 44 card main deck. Couldn't quite trim it down to 40, and I think 44 is running just fine. So for the extra deck, we have our first fusion, 1 El Shaddoll Shekinaga. I do like this card as an option. This had the ability to negate special summon monster effects by discarding a Shaddoll, and that can trigger their effects, so I like this card a lot. I know some lists aren't playing it, some lists that I've seen recently anyways, but I really like this card. I was also thinking about playing Grista as well for a fire target to be able to, you know, super poly against Salmon Great, but I just don't have a Grista right now. Then we have 3 copies of Construct. Finally, Construct is back in all of its glory. This card is insane. None of its effects are once per turn, but basically if it's fusion summoned, you can, if it's special summoned, you can send 1 Shaddoll card from your deck to the graveyard. And then at the start of the damage step, if this card battles a special summon monster, destroy that monster. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 Shaddoll spell trap card in your graveyard and add it to your hand. So if you summon this, you can just send any Shaddoll card from your deck to grave, send Squamata to send Beast, and Falco to set itself back, send Core to add back any fusions. So like, very, very strong card. It also kills anything it attacks at the start of the damage step. Kills Borosword, kills Borreload, kills Avermax, kills a lot of the most powerful cards in the game right now. So yeah, this card is just amazing. Then I'm playing 1 Winda. I wanted to play 2, but I couldn't find my second one. But I honestly think you could get away with just 1 Winda, especially since I'm playing Emerald, so you can recycle a lot of these cards. So, because a lot of times if you're going second and you can't OTK, you have like Construct on board with whatever else, or maybe a Link. Then during their turn, after they make their first special summon, you chain your El Shaddoll fusion and go into Winda, and that pretty much stops their turn dead in its tracks. And if they can't out it, then they just kind of pass it back to you, and really only need that 1 Winda in theory. 2 super poly targets. This is something I wasn't gonna main. I might just side it in the future. I don't know, because like you already have some super poly targets with your Shaddolls, because this takes a dark, a light, an earth, so there's some genericness to those, so you don't need these in the main deck. But I kind of didn't feel as comfortable not maining them. So yeah, I don't know. Like again, you can play like Violet Chimera, but I think these 2 are just fine against this current format. And then for the rank 4s, we have 1 Delta Rose, 1 Illuminite, 1 Daigusto Emerald, and 1 Abyss Dweller. For those that don't know what Delta Rose does, basically it takes 3 level 4 monsters, same thing with Illuminite, and this is how you're going to take full advantage of your Star Seraph engine, and these cards are very, very good. So Delta Rose, when this card has Ixie material, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects while you normal or special summon a monster or monsters, so that's really, really good. Then this other effect is once per turn, you can detach 1 Ixie material from this card, then target 1 card in the field and destroy it. So basically, if you overlay into this using Scepter, you can pop a card and draw, and then detach and pop another card. So it's a double pop, good for removal. And then we have the Luminite. Basically, it says you can detach a material from this card as cost, and then send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard, and draw if you do draw 1 card. So you don't discard for cost off this guy, so it can trigger your Shaddoll. So you can send, like, you can discard Beast, draw a card, and then Beast, draw another card. And then when it's summoned using Scepter, you can pop and draw. So like you could potentially draw 3 cards off of going into this guy. So it's really, really strong in here. Emerald is fantastic in here. I wasn't originally playing this, but it's so good to recycle your engine. Definitely needed in here, in my opinion. 1 Abyss Dweller, just because it's Abyss Dweller. So yeah, that's the extra deck, or not the extra deck, the Xyz. Then for the links, 1 Lambda. You have to play this. 1 Phoenix, 1 Unicorn, and 1 Borosword. These are just the 4 links I'm playing. I might drop Phoenix for like an Underclock Taker, because I don't know if I feel comfortable with playing like just 1 or 2 cards that I can get down arrows with. But you know, to be honest, sometimes you don't really need a link to get your fusion out like first, because sometimes just leaving Construct on board is just, you know, hard enough for your opponent to get over, and you can sort of play a control game if you don't OTK. But yeah, so that's it for the extra deck. These are some other cards I thought about playing, like Exciton Knight, Underclock Taker, Saryuja, and the Appaloosa. This card is good, obviously, for helping you draw, but the Star Seraph engine kind of makes this not as needed as much, but if you want to play it, you can. Underclock Taker is something I thought about cutting Phoenix for. Exciton Knight is just a good rank 4 to go into, and Appaloosa is kind of a fail-safe if you wanted to play into that as well. So these are just like extra options. Of course, not in the actual extra deck for right now, but they are other options to play if you want to. Alright guys, so for this combo, I'm just going to start off with Stick, Chair, and a copy of Shaddoll Fusion. And our opponent has a copy of Borreload Dragon per se. Again, this could be anything. Might as well just be a blank. We're just using it sort of as a placeholder for our opponent having a monster special summon to the extra deck, so we can use our Shaddoll Fusion, but I guess we could also at the same time use this as Chainlink 2. and we're going to search the other chair. And this will sort of demonstrate how much advantage the Star Seraph engine can get you. So we'll special, and then we'll draw, and then we'll special and draw. So good draw 2 right there. So we'll draw, and then special this, and draw. So it really doesn't matter too much what we draw, but drawing super poly is always nice. But from here, I'm going to link these two into a copy of the Lambda, just so we open up our extra monster zones. And then here, we're going to use Shaddoll Fusion to go ahead and send the Damage Juggler to the grave alongside the Squamata. And then from here, we're going to summon out the Construct and get some more chain links going there. So summon the Construct here, and then we'll go Construct Chainlink 2, or Squamata Chainlink 2, Construct Chainlink 1. Now, if we wanted another copy of, per se, like Shaddoll, or the El Shaddoll Fusion right now, all we'd have to do is send the El Shaddoll Fusion off Squamata, and then send Core off Construct to be able to add that back. And then we could potentially go into another Construct. But I'm just going to send Beast and send Falco here. So Beast off Squamata, Falco off Construct. And then we're going to use the... At this point, since I think these both activate on new chains, I don't know if we'd be able to chainlink block the Beast here. But maybe a Shaddoll veteran might know the answer to that. But we'll set the Falco, and then we'll draw a card off the Beast. We draw into a Dragon. Not too bad. Then here we banish the Damage Juggler and search out another, monster here. I'm going to go ahead and grab the Hat Tricker, and then we're going to be able to special summon that into this. Now, actually, I should have just linked both the Sovereignties away and left the Scepter on board. That's my bad, because we can actually use Scepter as link fodder, as Ixties fodder, without having it to be, because these can only be used for 3 material Ixties. So, and this only takes 2 mods. They don't have to have different names. So here we could overlay into any rank 4 that we wanted to. We could go into Emerald and sort of recycle our engine a bit. So we could detach the Scepter, and we could put back the 2 chairs and a copy of Beast, just like that, back into the deck. So our deck to work with, and just cut the deck and draw a card. We draw into a Mathematician. Not too bad at all. So yeah. And at this point, if this was a Borlo, we could just run it over and just destroy it, and then attack and attack. And then if we had the Super Poly, we could Super Poly right here, and ditch the Dragon, the Construct for another Construct, and do more shenanigans from there. We have a good follow-up in Mathematician next turn. We do have Phantasme. We have a set Falco that they have to worry about, and we're drawing a Call by the Grave for turn. So yeah, a pretty solid combo there. Just opening Stick Chair and Shaddoll Fusion proves to be really, really good. You get to use a Construct, a Link 2, and a Rank 4 of your choosing, and the ability to draw into a ton of combo pieces right there as well. So now we're going to do a random test hand, and I'll sort of play out just a basic going second hand, and we'll sort of use that Borload placeholder again. So I've shuffled the deck pretty good here. Let's draw into an opening hand of 6 and see what we can make happen. Damage Juggler, Scepter, Polymerization, and the Ash Blossom. So we can assume that our opponent is going to go into the extra deck, which means this Phantasme is live. So we'll just go ahead and summon this here, and then draw 2 and put 1 back, drawing into another Super Poly. I'm easily putting back that Super Poly, and we're also going to use the Ash. So we Ash them, we drop Phantasme on their head, and we're left with still a Damage Juggler, a Scepter, a Foolish, and a Super Poly. And we'll see what we'll draw for turn here. So we'll just do that, and we're going to draw a Dragon. So that really puts us into play right there, 100%. So from here, much like we did in the combo, I'm going to start with the Scepter, and we're going to go grab a copy of Sovereignty. Sovereignty is going to summon itself, and we're going to draw a card. So just do that, reveal, and draw. We could also use the Foolish Burial to send Squamata, to send Beast, to draw an additional card as well. But I don't think we're going to need to do that. So we're going to draw a Call by the Grave. Really, really good card to have here. Now, if this was a Borload Dragon, we could just Super Poly into a Winda if we wanted to. So I think here what I'm going to do is link these 2 off into a copy of Lambda. And then at this point, I'm going to use the Super Poly and discard the Call by the Grave, Infusion with the Dragon, and the Damage Juggler into a copy of Construct. I guess we could have ditched the Foolish Burial as well if we wanted to protect the Construct. So yeah, I guess we can do that since we're about to resolve a Foolish Burial. So we'll keep the Call by the Grave in hand and ditch the Foolish instead. So now we'll use Construct effect here, and we're going to send the Squamata, and that's going to send Beast, and we're going to draw a card. And from here, see what we can draw into. Draw into a Hat Tricker, which is not too bad. And then we're going to banish the Damage Juggler here to search copy of Trick Clown, since we don't have really any other targets at this point. I guess one other thing we could have done was, like, sent, what was it? Sent, like, Squamata and then sent, like, something else. Maybe for, like, El Shaddoll Fusion or maybe regular Shaddoll Fusion. And then, like, link these off into something. So, yeah, I guess that's another thing we could have done. Is like Scepter into Sovereignty, and then drawing a card, and then Super Poly right off the bat, with the ditching the ditching the Damage Juggler, and fusing with the Dragon and like the Chair into Construct, and doing things from there. But I don't think it makes too big of a difference. We still have a pretty solid board as is. We could even summon the Hat Tricker like this and link all of these into a copy of Borrelsword, like that, and try to just push for game. That's definitely a viable option, because this could just run over whatever that is, you know, 3k, and then turn to defense for another however much damage. So that is a viable option, just to go right into Borrelsword if you need to. But yeah, that's going to do it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'm still learning this deck myself. Not a Shaddoll master 100%, but this deck is very, very promising in my opinion, and definitely has a good future ahead of it, especially with the support we're going to be getting from that structure deck. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this. You can use it as a template, obviously, for your builds. There's tons of different ways you can play Shaddolls, obviously. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. This is WinnerKill signing out. We'll see you guys in the next one.